With the PlayStation Store running their excellent under $20 game sale right now, there are a ton of great deals that I want to go over, but in today's video, I specifically want to highlight a genre that so many people are a fan of, and that is great open world games. There are a plethora of high quality open world games that you can get for super cheap right now, and I want to go over 10 of those titles, so without further ado, let's get right into it. And one more thing, again, all of these deals are available directly on the PlayStation Store as a part of their under $20 sale. So let's get started with Middleearth Shadow of War Definitive Edition. It is 75% off for $14.99, and this is an awesome deal. Now, Middle-earth Shadow of War was, of course, the follow-up to Shadow of Mordor, and I will say that the game initially had some issues here and there. Some of the elements of the game didn't really hit home with me, but a lot of the issues have been remedied, and now what you have is an epic open world brought to life by the award-winning Nemesis system. Forge a new ring of power, conquer fortresses in massive battles, and dominate Mordor with your personal orc army in the definitive edition of Middle-earth Shadow of War. So what makes the definitive edition, well, so definitive? It includes all of the downloadable content: Desolation of Mordor story expansion, the Blade story expansion, Slaughter Tribe Nemesis expansion, and the Outlaw Tribe Nemesis expansion. The Nemesis expansions include a new orc tribe featuring new missions, enemies, followers, abilities, fortress, and wilderness updates, and a legendary gear set. Story expansions, on the other hand, introduce a new playable character, abilities, story campaigns, side missions, enemies, allies, and more. The game itself fundamentally is already an enormous game. Then you throw in all of the DLC and it gets even bigger, so it's a great buy at $14.99, and I would highly recommend it. Next up, we've got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. The base game is available for $8.99. The Gold Edition is available for $14.99. Whichever way you go, you really can't go wrong. The Gold Edition does include some extra content, so obviously if you want the entire experience, that's not a bad buy. AC4 is a game that I absolutely adore. I go as far as to say it's my favorite game in the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. Yes, liked it more than AC2, and yes, I like it even more so than some of the newer Assassin's Creed games like Origins and Odyssey. AC4 just had a lot of quality elements. First of all, the naval combat was so good, and that's an element of AC4 that they've brought into a lot of the other Assassin's Creed games, and hell, it's spun out to its own dedicated game from Ubisoft called Skull and Bones. That's how well it was received. The open world is massive with a ton of content, and the story is really good as well. I know when talking about Assassin's Creed, most people go towards Ezio's story. However, Edward Kenway is a very compelling main character, and he sets the table for a very engaging story. Base game for $9 is a great buy, and I'd highly recommend it. Next up, we have Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year Edition, another fantastic open world RPG. Dragon Age Inquisition had the unfortunate fate of being released just a few months before The Witcher 3, so I feel like some people don't give Dragon Age Inquisition the credit it deserves. And what's that credit? Well, being one of the best RPGs of this generation, because I really believe it's at that level. And also because it's a game done by BioWare retroactively, it kind of has this stench to it, but Dragon Age Inquisition was a great game. It shouldn't be hated on for this game because I thought it came out really good. The visuals are excellent, the gameplay is really great, and this Game of the Year edition includes a ton of additional content that'll add even more game time to an already packed experience. For $9.99, it's a great buy. It should be noted that it is available through EA Access as well, so if you want to acquire the game that way, obviously it's an option. Otherwise, buying it for $9.99 is a great buy. Next up, we've got Batman Arkham Knight for $9.99. I believe you can get the premium edition of this for $19.99, which of course includes some additional content. Batman Arkham Knight was the explosive finale to the Batman Arkham franchise, and I will say that in the main three games, the main trilogy, when you look at Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, I probably think that Arkham Knight is the weakest of the three games, but that isn't really saying much given that Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were such good games, and Arkham Knight is also a very good game. The open world is gorgeous visually, it's a stunning game, the combat is, as you know and love from Batman. Yes, the Batmobile sections aren't everyone's cup of tea, but even those I thought were pretty good, and they're few and far between. A lot to like with Batman Arkham Knight, and with rumblings of Warner Brothers Montreal doing another Batman Arkham game, hey, now wouldn't be a bad time to check out Arkham Knight if you have yet to do so. It's a great title, and for $9.99, definitely worth a buy. Next up, we have Dying Light, 35% off for $12.99. Dying Light is another game that is getting a sequel very soon. Later this year, we should have the release of Dying Light 2, and Dying Light 2 is shaping up to be phenomenal and a considerable improvement upon the first game. However, that should be credited to Dying Light 2's excellent. Dying Light 1 was also a very good game, a first-person action survival game set in a vast open world, not quite as vast as some of the other huge open world experiences that we've had in recent years. However, it's still a sizable open world with a lot of parkour elements, and that's probably one of the most engaging and unique elements of the game. A lot of content in this as well, and for $12.99, I think it's a great buy, and I would definitely give it a strong recommendation. Check that out if you do want an open-world survival horror title. Next up, whenever you talk about open-world games, a franchise that is synonymous with that is Far Cry, and Far Cry 4 is 50% off for $9.99. So obviously, this isn't the latest Far Cry title. However, Far Cry, since Far Cry 3 has been a lot more of the same, that's not necessarily a bad thing since Far Cry 3 was such an excellent game. Far Cry 4, again, a lot more of the same from Far Cry 3. It has that great gameplay, it has a good narrative, and really that's all you need for a Far Cry game if you want an open world to get lost into. Far Cry 4 definitely offers that, a lot of content in it as well. And for $9.99, I would say it's a great buy, and if you haven't played any of the Far Cry games in a little bit, hey, Far Cry 4 is a pretty good buy, especially at this price point. Next up, we have a game that I always like to go to bat for, and that is Mad Max. It is 50% off for $9.99. Now, Mad Max came out all the way back on September 1st of 2015. Now, why is that date so relevant? Well, that's because that is the day that Metal Gear Solid 5 also released, and you had two big open world games being released on the same day, but let's be real, Mad Max going head-to-head with Metal Gear Solid 5, yeah, it wasn't going to end up well for Mad Max. Over the years, this is a game that people have gone back and played, and I think it's gotten that reception that it deserves. Is it a perfect open-world game? No, it is a little bit barren, but hey, it's Mad Max, it's set in a desert, it's not supposed to be a very packed open world. The good elements of this game are definitely the gameplay, it's definitely reminiscent of something like a Batman Arkham. The story gets pretty good by the end, and I have to say the technical performance, some of the best that you're going to see on a PlayStation 4 game. It looks, runs, and plays really, really well, very smooth frame rate, and for $9.99, it is a great buy, and if you missed out on it all these years, I definitely would go back and give it a look. Next up, we have a game that from a personal standpoint was a little bit disappointing to me, but objectively is a very good game, and that is Mafia 3. 75% off for $9.99. I think this is a really good buy. Now, my expectations going into the release of Mafia 3 were so astronomically high. I loved Mafia 2. I thought it was a tremendous game, and with Mafia 3, I was just expecting Mafia 2, but in an open world New Orleans, and yes, it is Mafia in an open world, but it does have some shortcomings, like some of the content isn't the best. However, the voice acting is still excellent, the narrative is really good, the visuals are good, and it is filled with content. And do keep in mind, I initially paid $59.99 for it. That was a steep price to pay. Now at $9.99, it is a phenomenal buy, and even if you've never played Mafia 2, give Mafia 3 a look. It's a very good crime-oriented open world adventure, and I think it's very much worth a buy at this price point. There is a free demo available as well, so you can check that out. Speaking of crime-oriented open world games, the most notable one that you can go to is, of course, Grand Theft Auto 5. It is 50% off for $14.99. So GTA 5, a mandatory game in just about every PlayStation 4 game collection. If you don't own it, you should really change that. I imagine the majority of you guys have at least played it in some form, whether it be on last generation platforms, maybe you had it on PS4 and you sold it, maybe you played it on PC, I don't know, but you should have it on PlayStation 4, and if for whatever reason you never played it, or you just want to revisit it after playing the last generation version, $14.99 for it is really good. It runs really well on PlayStation 4, great open world game, a ton of content. GTA Online is there as well, not the best received online experience, but still another component to the game, and just for the single player open world adventure, I would say that GTA 5 is very much worth it. And lastly, we have Watch Dogs 2, which is 75% off for $12.49. Yes, we're coming up on the release of Watch Dogs Legion, hopefully later this year, so now would be a great time to check out Watch Dogs 2. And Watch Dogs 2 was a great title. Unfortunately, it didn't do all too well commercially. I hearken it back to something like Assassin's Creed 2, in that Assassin's Creed 1 was an experience with a lot of potential, however, it had a lot of issues. Assassin's Creed 2, Ubisoft went to the drawing board and they fixed a lot of those issues and made it a much more compelling game. That's essentially what happened with Watch Dogs 2. It's a far better game than Watch Dogs 1, and for $12.49, the current price as it is on sale, it's a great buy. There is a free demo available as well that has like 3 hours of content, so check that out if I can't sell you on it. It's a great experience, and it'll get you pretty excited for Watch Dogs Legion, which again should be out later this year, and it should be a cross-generational title on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, so that's pretty cool. But that's still a ways out, so for now, check out Watch Dogs 2, especially at this price. It's a great buy. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, open world games have been a standard for gamers this generation, and with this under $20 sale, a lot of great ones. Dragon Age Inquisition, AC4 is a favorite of mine, Middleearth Shadow of War Definitive Edition, great buy there, Mad Max, Mafia 3, GTA 5, Watch Dogs 2, Batman Arkham Knight, Dying Light, Far Cry 4, just a lot of great stuff supremely discounted right now. So that's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.